So, one of the better shiny hunting methods for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet involves isolating the Pokemon down in an area where hopefully it will be the only thing to spawn. So in today's video, I will be going through all the normal type Pokemon and the best place to isolate them. If this video does well, I'll continue to put out more videos for more of the types of Pokemon. So let me know what you think, and yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that's really important to make sure you have is a sparkling power sandwich that has the normal encounter power and such. And as you can see here, this area right here, right outside the base for Ortega, is great for finding Chanseys. Shiny Chansey is a green color, and this is going to be easily the best place to find it, as it's the only normal type Pokemon that will be spawning in this area. The next Pokemon I'll be talking about is Lechonk. If you want to go for Lechonk, probably the best place to go involves going back to your house at Cabo Poco. From there, you will move towards Paco Path, where Lechonk is almost the only Pokemon that spawns there. As you can see, there are plenty of Lechonks around, just kind of, yeah, they're just kind of hanging out on Paco Path. I don't know why there are Hoppips there, but occasionally you'll see some Fletchlings and things like that, just because they are also a normal type. But the main thing you should be able to see here are Lechonks. And as you can see, there are quite a few of them around. Ignore the Hoppips. Next up involves Young Goose. The best place to find Young Goose is in this little teleport point here by the Dalizapa Passage. If you are down in here, you will occasionally see Dunsparce, but the main Pokemon you will see are Young Goose and Gumshoes, as they are just very common spawns down here, and you have the normal encounter sandwich, so that raises the chances up much more. Oh, well, see, I told you, it's perfect. Found shiny Gumshoes. Let's just go ahead and false swipe him down. Which, one thing that's funny, all the testing I did for this video where I was trying to figure out the best places to encounter these Pokemon, I did not find a single shiny along that way, even though I had to have the encounter 3 sandwiches and such. But no, the moment I'm in here, I encounter one immediately, of course. Hey, it's better to have it on camera, though. I forgot it got takedown. Let's just ignore that. Moving on, Azurill. Azurill is the next normal type on our list, though you can hunt it as the evolved form Marill or Azumarill, if you'd rather that. But I found a decent spot for Azurill that I just thought was the best way to hunt it. Right outside of Paco Path, on this area that did not seem to want to load. If you are walking along this riverbank, Azurill is very common to spawn, and with the normal encounter power sandwich, that raises those quite a bit. So I'd say just keep walking up and down the riverbank type of thing, and eventually you'll be able to find a shiny Azurill. There are probably better spots that you can hunt its evolution, but this is just one that I also wanted to mention. Next up, Igglybuff/Jigglypuff. Where you're going to want to go is just go to Cortando, and if you just kind of hang out right outside of Cortando, this is a great place for Pokemon like Jigglypuff and Igglybuff to spawn, though sometimes if you're too close to the fields, you will see Squovit and Smalllive as well. So if you just keep kind of walking around this area, you can see Jigglypuff spawning. There should be Igglybuffs as well. I'm currently out behind the olive area. It seems like a good number can also spawn out in this little area, just because it's not with the fields and stuff, so you won't be seeing as many Squovits. But you will end up seeing some other Pokemon such as Happiny and Fletchling, so might be better to stick closer to the town itself. Though, if you want to hunt it in combination with Tandemouse, the easiest place to go for Tandemouse is the Pokemon League, but at the Pokemon League, you will also see Igglybuffs just everywhere. So if we walk around here, you see the Igglybuffs just sitting around, hanging out. But there should also be Tandemouse, wherever they want to show up. Tandemouse, there they are. Gotta look close, make sure I don't fail another shiny today. That would really not be nice. Next up on our list is Slackoth. And I will say Slackoth doesn't really have anywhere great to shiny hunt it, because Slackoth only really hangs out in trees, and there's just nowhere great for it. If you want to go for Vigoroth, you can find it down in South Province 5. Right? This is South Province 5? Yep. South Province 5. Though it does spawn in conjunction with a bunch of other normal types, such as Litleo, Stantler, and other Pokemon. Wait, is that? Okay, I'm not failing a second shiny this video. We will save this time. Vigoroth, please come back. I'm not gonna fail this one. I swear, I promise. I saved this time. I'm just gonna throw a Pokeball just in case it has Takedown. Because that's not something I was thinking about with Gumshoes. I like this Pokemon a whole lot more, though, than Gumshoes, so I'm okay with failing Gumshoes rather than this. So I guess this is a good place for Vigoroth. I think I just got lucky, though, that I was talking about it and happened to get it. But as you can see, there's Litleos, Oinkologne, a bunch of other things here, so it's not going to be the most optimal. Also Deerling, hello. Zangoose as well. There's just so many other Pokemon that spawn here that it's not the best place for hunting. Though, if you are okay with hunting for Slacking rather than Slackoth or Vigoroth, you're going to want to come up here to the Sakurat Trail. And Slacking is a pretty common spawn up here if you have the normal encounter sandwich. There is one right there. Deerling also spawns here, so this is also a good place to hunt for Deerling. But if you want to go for Slacking, here's a pretty good place for it. And as I was just saying, also, this is a great place to hunt for Deerling, and by conjunction Sawsbuck. And you can actually change their forms from what I have heard by just keeping them in your party, going to the place where the one you want to get spawns, saving the game, and then closing out the game and reloading, and I believe that should change the Deerling's form. So for example, if you had one of these fall Deerlings, you could teleport over to Glisado Mountain, where the winter Deerlings would be spawning, put it in your party, and then do what I said earlier, and you should get a winter Deerling. The next Pokemon we'll be looking at is Smalllive. Smalllive, you're going to want to go to South Province Area 2, and honestly, this Pokemon is probably better with the grass encounter sandwich, but you can do it with normal if you want. You'll just also be seeing some other Pokemon just because normal Pokemon are really common. For Smalllive, it's probably best to go in these little fields because they're quite easy to find in little packs, just sitting in the fields, as you can see there. See, and Skwovet also spawns in these areas, so they're not. And that's kind of why I was saying that it might be better for grass encounter sandwich to encounter Smalllive, because I don't think there's too many other grass types that spawn in this area. So yeah. Though if you're looking for Skwovet, this is going to end up being your best placement, as there are not too many places Skwovet actually spawn in this game. So you're just going to have to come here with the normal encounter sandwich and just fight your way through all the Smalllive that you find. Or alternatively, you might want to go for a mass outbreak. Next up is the Starly line. Specifically, the easiest to find is Staraptor, but if you want to go for Staravia or Starly, you're best looking at an outbreak for that. So currently, unfortunately, in my game it is nighttime, so I'll have some sort of footage rolling here with the Staraptors, but near these areas, near the Casoria Lake, on these islands you can find Staraptor kind of flying around if you have the normal encounter sandwich. Right now it's nighttime, so they don't spawn, but during the day they will. The next Pokemon we'll be looking at is Squawkabilly. For Squawkabilly, you're going to want to fly down to the south part of Levincia. Once you have reached the southern part of Levincia, all you're going to want to do is kind of walk over to this little patch of grass over here, step out, and you can see the Squawkabilly spawn in from right here. That's 2 packs. Any others? Sometimes they also will spawn down there, so you do have to keep an eye out for that. But Squawkabilly is particularly easy because you can just walk back into Levincia, despawn all those, and then walk back out, and you'll see new squawkabilly just spawned everywhere. And I have got to check down here because I am paranoid. Oh yeah, you also will sometimes see Meowth, but there's no chance you'll be able to tell if that's shiny from this distance. But yeah, just kind of walking in and out, this is the best way to hunt squawkabilly. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Meowth. Meowth has a surprisingly good spot that I really didn't think of before doing the research for this video. If you teleport to Proto Marinata, there is a very easy spot nearby where you can pretty much find only Meowths. If you just walk a little bit west towards the lighthouse, as you can see, Meowths spawn pretty commonly over here. You can also see some Tandemouse, but they are not as plentiful as the Meowths, as you can see. So the next Pokemon I want to talk about is Eevee, and Eevee's a special case because it does not have anywhere where it can be isolated. The best method for hunting Eevees will be through mass outbreaks, though if you really don't want to do mass outbreaks, you can kind of try this area over here with a normal sandwich, because that's kind of where it spawns, but you will mainly be seeing other Pokemon like Fletchling, Starly, Jigglypuff, Igglybuff. You'll just see everything. You might see Eevee here and there, but it won't be very common, so I would just suggest looking for outbreaks. Speaking of Fletchling, there is a very easy place to go to hunt Fletchling in this game. If you teleport to the Eastern Cortondo Pokemon Center, you can go north from there onto a little hill. So on the map, it is right here. This little mountain right here spawns quite a lot of Fletchlings. Pretty commonly, you'll see Happiny here and there, but you will mainly be seeing, well, okay, the Happinies aren't helping my point, but mainly you'll be seeing Fletchling up here. So just running around up top here, you can hunt for Fletchling pretty easily. For reference, it is the one with the Terra Fletchling that sits over here. The next two Pokemon I'll be talking about are best found within the Area 0. Once you enter here, the place I like to go to Research Station 3. But for this first Pokemon, you can probably go to any of the first three and have decent results. And that Pokemon I am talking about is Girafarig, as well as Farigiraf, I guess. You'll see them both in conjunction, but if you walk out Area 3, okay, Chansey, you're not helping me. You will see a lot of Girafarigs just spawning out in the wild, because there aren't many other normal types that can spawn here super easily. You will occasionally see Braviary, as well as the Chansey that you saw earlier, but you will primarily be seeing Girafarigs, as well as the occasional pack that hoards a Farigiraf as well. So this is where I recommend hunting for Girafarig if you are going for it. The next Pokemon is actually very nearby, and that is Dunsparce. For Dunsparce from Research Station 3, you're just going to want to walk into the cave. That's kind of all. You just got to walk down this cave. Everywhere down here, Dunsparce and Dunsparce sometimes are pretty much the only normal types that can spawn. I don't know of any other normal types that can spawn down here. So if someone wants to correct me, you can down in the comments. But from what I understand, Dunsparce is the only one that can spawn down in this cave area. So for all you masochists who want to search for the 3-segment shiny Dunsparce, this is the place to go. The next Pokemon I want to look at is possibly one of my favorites new Pokemon that they added in this generation. That being Shroodle and Grafaiai. Specifically Grafaiai, but both Pokemon are found in this location. You can find both of them here, so that can help you to find them quicker, but if you walk into the Tag Tree Thicket with a normal encounter sandwich on, you will find plenty of Shroodle and Grafaiai just kind of hanging around, doing their own thing. I believe these 4 Grafaiai have a low chance to be shiny because they are set spawns, so just don't worry about them. You will occasionally see Dunsparce as well as Oinkolones here, but they are not as common as, okay, I guess you can also find, I forgot, you can find Greedent here as well. And Komala. Okay, there's nowhere really good to hunt for Shroodle, I just realized. At least with normal encounter sandwich, there's nowhere great. It's probably better with a poison counter sandwich. That way you are isolating it just down to Venonat and Shroodle, I think. Shroodle, Venonat, and Fungus with the poison sandwich are the only things that spawn here. But you can kind of hunt for Shroodle here. You're just sifting through a whole bunch of other Pokemon as well. Another Pokemon that does spawn here that isn't great. You can go for Oranguru here technically, but there is a much better spot for it. If you come over to the North Province Area 2, I don't know why I said the other way around. This is going to be one of the better places to find Oranguru, but I will tell you that it is not foolproof, as there also is, this is the best place for Teddiursa and Ursaring. If you specifically want Oranguru, I would probably recommend going for a Psychic type sandwich in this area, just as I don't think there are any other Psychic type Pokemon that commonly spawn. But with normal type sandwich, you will also be finding Teddiursas and such, so if you want to hunt both, I mean, it's there, but yeah, Oranguru Psychic sandwich, Teddiursa Ursaring normal sandwich. This next Pokemon doesn't really have a great place to isolate it, just as like Vigoroth, it doesn't really have a good place that can be isolated, because so many normal types spawn in this type of area. And that is Stantler. Stantler can spawn kind of in these mountainous areas, as you can see here, but so can also Pokemon like Goose and Litleo and Dunsparce. There's just so many others here that can spawn. It doesn't really make a great place. So personally, I'd recommend trying to go for it through an outbreak. Apparently also Lechonk can spawn here. Didn't know that. But if you really want to, a good way to just like have all your spawns kind of congested in one area. That way it's easier to reset. If you come over to this bridge area, you'll see that most of Pokemon, you'll see Pokemon a lot quicker. They'll just have to spawn on this bridge. As you can see, Stantlers kind of spawn here. Litleos are also spawning. They're trying to prove me wrong, but this is kind of just like your best bet for solo hunting Stantler. Just going across this bridge and such. Keep resetting your spawns, you'll probably eventually get one. But I'd recommend going for a mass outbreak, because that'll ultimately take less time, probably. Depending on your luck, of course. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is one that I think has an absolutely amazing shiny. And that is Swablu. From your home on Cabo Poco, you're going to want to kind of go northwest-ish until you reach South Province Area 4. Or alternatively, you can teleport over to this watchtower if you have that. But I'm going to go from somewhere that everyone can reach. So once you have reached South Area Province 4, you'll find on these mountain type areas that Swablu are a very common spawn. You'll of course also see Dunsparce as just normal type spawn everywhere. Might be able to isolate Swablu a little bit more if I walk over this way. Because when I was testing, I was kind of finding spots that were just like only Swablu. Yeah, this is kind of the area that I was thinking. As you can see, there are just Swablu absolutely everywhere. And probably the best way to reset for shiny Swablu will be more or less walking along this path. As you can see, so many at a time. And you'll just eventually go until you reach the end of this path here, where this Pokeball spawns and such. And then just kind of turn around and go back until you start seeing other Pokemon aside from Swablu. And just do those laps over and over again. Now, I've shown you a couple of spots where Litleo does indeed spawn, but there is a place that is best for specifically Litleo. Along Glacado Mountain, for whatever reason, they decided that they wanted to have Litleos and Pyroars spawn. So if you come here with a normal encounter sandwich, you should be able to find them, but you will have better results with a fire sandwich, as Winter Form Deerling and Sawsbuck can also spawn. Pyroar spawns along like the sides of the mountain. Let me get to one of the more rocky areas, that way I can show you. You see these little mountainous type areas along the side of the mountain. This is the best place for Litleo, though you will see other Pokemon due to it being a normal sandwich. As you can see up there was a Gumshoos and such. See Gumshoos, Goose, but there is also Litleo. If you go with a fire sandwich, I believe Litleo and Pyroar are the only Pokemon that'll spawn along this area. But if you want to do normal sandwich, you can do that as well. It's just more optimal to do the fire sandwich. The next Pokemon will take us to the Asado Desert. Once in the Asado Desert with your normal encounter sandwich, you'll see very common spawns for Rufflet. I do not know of any other normal types that spawn in this desert, so you'll pretty much only be seeing Rufflet along with maybe some of these certain set spawns that just are always there. The next Pokemon will take us over to the town of Medali. If you go just north of Medali in this little foresty type area, that is inside of West Province 3, you'll find multiple normal types that spawn here, but there's one that just, it's the best place for it, being Komala. You can also obviously find it within the Tag Tree Thicket, but this just, for me, seemed to be the most consistent place to find it. There aren't as many normal types that spawn here, just really like Oinkolones you'll really see. But as you saw earlier, in the Tag Tree Thicket, there are so many normal types that spawn there, so it's just, you'll occasionally see like Deerlings and stuff if you get too close to the cliffs. Maybe a Shroodle here and there. A bunch of Oinkolones apparently. It's not really a great place in particular for Komala, but this just was the best place that I was able to find. Next up is Indeedee, and the best place I found for Indeedee personally was this area up in North Province Area 1, this little hillside. I currently don't have a sandwich on just because mine just ran out, but right along this area you will mainly see Indeedees if you have a normal type sandwich, along with the occasional Jigglypuff little horde spawn. Though Indeedee doesn't have any amazing place to spawn, because with the normal sandwich obviously you'll still see Jigglypuff and such, as well as Rufflet, just because Rufflet spawn everywhere. But even with a Psychic Sandwich, you'll still be seeing Pokemon like Spoink, and I know there are others, I can't remember them right now. But either way, this type of area is going to be your best bet for Indeedee with either sandwich. Now, this Pokemon is one I will absolutely tell you to not do with a normal type sandwich, and that is Cyclizar. In East Area Province 2, you can find Cyclizar running around. With a normal sandwich, it'll up its spawn some, but there are so many other normal types that spawn here, and no other dragon types, so it is just much better to run a dragon sandwich through this area. Just that way you are able to find only Cyclizar, instead of Cyclizar and Oinkolone and Deerling and so many other Pokemon that I can't remember right now. This is the Pokemon I would definitely say to not use normal typing for. Just use dragon types, it'll be so much easier and so much faster. I used dragon type sandwich for my shiny Cyclizar, and it really took me, I think it took me like 5 minutes. So yeah, just do a dragon type sandwich. I kind of mentioned this Pokemon earlier, but not in any extensive detail, just as one of many Pokemon that spawn in a certain area. That Pokemon is Zangoose. Zangoose falls into the same phenomena as Vigoroth and many other normal types, where there are just so many Pokemon, other normal types that spawn in its area, that it is hard to isolate it. But if you really want to try, Zangoose happen to spawn around all these types of ponds and stuff on this area of the map. Normal sandwich, just running around these ponds is probably your best bet, unless you want to go for a mass outbreak, which will probably yield you much better results. And I believe that leaves one normal type Pokemon, that being Ditto. Ditto is much different than most other Pokemon, as it disguises itself when in the wild. So that means it is going to be a very weird Pokemon to try to isolate. So your best bet is definitely just to go for an outbreak of this Pokemon, since it's so hard to isolate. Anywhere Ditto spawns, there are plenty of other normal types, and Ditto transforms into those normal types, so unless you lock onto the Pokemon, you won't be able to tell if it's a Ditto or not. I believe that goes over all normal type Pokemon. For this, I mainly just went over what I consider to be the easiest of the evolution line to catch, but obviously for most of them I tried to mention the earlier evolution lines, that way you can kind of choose which one you have. And that is all for the normal type Pokemon shiny hunting locations, I guess that's what we're gonna call it. Again, if you enjoyed this video, let me know and I will definitely make more of these. But until then, best of luck with your shiny hunts, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.